Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm super excited to be here for another episode of CreaTips with my good friend Codi Bear. How you doing, Codi?
I'm doing great. How are you, Val?
I'm doing awesome. I'm super excited to just be here and to get to stream with you. It's never a dull moment streaming with my buddy, and we have kind of awesome epic episode planned for you guys here today. We're going to be getting into some of the finer nitty-gritty details of how to design a streaming package. So your overlays, all of the graphics and things that you would need if you want to start your own live stream and do that regularly. And I feel like I've been doing that for a long time, and one of the masters of creating atmospheric live streaming packages is definitely Codi Bear, you know?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to kick it over just in case there's somebody in the chat who maybe is not familiar with your epic work. I'm going to pop over here to our live streaming scene just to let you kind of introduce yourself and show everybody what you do, what you're about.
Sure. Thank you so much for that intro, Val. Appreciate it. Hey, everyone. Hey, everybody in chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Codi. If you guys aren't familiar with my work, I live stream here on Adobe Live quite a bit. I'm an illustrator. I draw a lot of like cute, warm, cuddly animal characters. I've been doing a lot of patterns lately, trying to get into surface design. I have been live streaming professionally for about like close to 10 years now. So I have made a lot of live stream packages, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys would like to check out my Instagram, feel free to do so if you want to see more of my work. But yeah, that's me.
Woo, yeah. You know, what you said about like you really have been designing live stream packages for like 10 years. And we do a lot of different things, right? When it comes to creating a live stream package, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and there's so many different directions you can go in. So today I feel like, you know, Codi and I are just gonna touch on the things that we feel make a streaming package unique, the things that a streaming package should have, and the areas of creating a streaming package where you really can elaborate and kind of do your own thing. I'm gonna be kind of hammering out like a face cam screen as one of the very first scenes you definitely should have when it comes to live streaming. What are you gonna be working on, Codi?
I am actually going to be working on, for one, I wanted to show you guys some of the things that I've been working on in Adobe Express for my own channels, as well as I am going to actually be going through just a very simple, super simple animation for you guys for a starting screen. Like, you don't even have to be an artist to be able to do this kind of animation. Like, it's super easy. So yeah, want to be able to go through that with you guys. Super excited to see what you guys, see what we're going to be working on today.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, when it comes to creating a great live streaming package, like I said, I'm going to be working on a face cam screen first of all, and then we'll kind of make our way through, but I'm gonna like kind of just make a brief list here for everybody, just to kind of give an idea of what it really should have. So a face cam screen, obviously I'm just gonna do some little notes here. Face cam is basically this. We can actually flip over. This is our face cam. You know, this is where you can talk to your audience and do a little Vogue for them. This is where you can talk to your audience, where you intro your show, and maybe where you return to at the end of your broadcast to say goodbye, you know, to be a little more personal and connect with the people who are watching you. But you also might want an intro screen, an intro animation, or perhaps a starting soon screen. And so we're gonna do a starting soon. So starting soon. because that's where you go before you do the face cam. You know,
Right.
this is what face cam transitions from. And then something like where we're sitting right now, you know, a workspace, if you're going to be doing a creative project, or if you are a gamer. If there's any gamers in chat, Cody and I are gamers.
Yeah.
We do some game live streaming. So it could be your gaming screen. And then I also highly recommend having a BRB, because you never know what can
Yes.
happen live. Definitely need a BRB screen. I've had my dogs attack my office door in the middle of a broadcast before, so I definitely needed a BRB screen. And then an ending, you know, an ending screen. So like the stream is ending. So these are, to me, you know, what makes up a basic streaming package. What do you think, Cody? Is there anything in there that you elaborate on, that you add, or does this seem like a pretty solid list?
This sounds like a solid list. There's also a few other things that I would like to add, specifically if you are going to be streaming on Twitch. Different platforms have different variations to like the UI that you're going to have on your profile. So for instance, on Twitch here, we have an offline screen too. So if people come to your profile, instead of just having like a black blank screen, you can have like your artwork or any kind of offline screen.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and then when you scroll down on your profile on Twitch, you actually have what we call panels, and these are kind of like just like little titles basically, and they can also be click-through links. So like for instance, this one right here on the right says tip jar, so I can actually click on that and it will open up like a donation page if somebody wants to donate to me. So you can design those however you like as well.
Yeah, that's a really great point about the offline screen, because some platforms do have like kind of a hold screen. Likewise and similarly would be thumbnails, right?
Yes.
Because if you're streaming on YouTube, having thumbnails that match your live streaming package would be great. And this is an awesome one. I love your thumbnails, by the way. And this is one of my favorites because it's so cohesive and so cozy. How did you kind of go about making this, by the way? Like, what did you feel like it really needed as you approached creating it?
So this thumbnail is for a series that I'm doing on my YouTube channel right now, and so I'm specifically working on my pattern portfolio on this series. So I wanted to make sure that the thumbnail represented that. So basically, I made this whole thing in Express, by the way, super easy. I added my mock-up picture here to the background, and then I also added just a this shape. It's basically like a torn paper shape, and I dropped this color from the background of my mock-up image to just kind of make it a little bit like it just goes together, make it cohesive.
Yeah.
I put in my my little icon here, my profile picture up on the right. And I just added some different shapes and stuff. I mean, I have my numbers here as well, which is really important if you guys are doing any kind of like a gaming let's play or something and you want people to know immediately while looking at the thumbnail that there are multiple videos in this playlist. It's super helpful to be able to add those big numbers on the thumbnails as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And you and I were just having a conversation about that just yesterday, actually, about like the important information that is necessary for certain graphics and pieces of promotional material when you are advertising that you live stream. And to that point, something that I would like to point out, I'm going to pop over here to our main workspace because I think that like when it comes to this, it's like creating a thumbnail. Those are all general things that can also be taken into account when you're creating like the first portion of an overlay, because you want people to come into the space and you want them to understand immediately kind of what's going on, so that when someone shows up to your show, they don't think to themselves, "What is this? What's happening?"
Yeah.
You want to capture attention in an informative way, and do that while building an atmosphere that suits the show that you're presenting. And so I have this little just a little basic graphic here that I feel is a pretty good representation of something that a face cam should have, and you guys can actually download this. It's just an image to use as an outline if you would like to design along with us today. And I'm just going to go through super quick and kind of denote some of the things which I feel are important here. So you definitely have, like, this is where your face goes. You want to be able to be front and center so that everyone who comes to your show can see you. Obviously, and self-explanatory, you want to have your name someplace where they can see you and see what you're all about, what you're called. And then another thing that you probably want is something on the screen that denotes your social handles. You know, so if somebody shows up and they're a lurker, they're not somebody who wants to actively participate in the chat, and they think, you know, I might like to follow this person and see what else they do. Having your social media on the screen is a great way to connect with people in that way at a glance, which is always a good thing to do. And then I have some shapes up here, which are depending on where you're streaming and what you're doing. You might have your music listed up at the top in like a rotating banner. You might have your stream title kind of showing up here so that people can come in and read literally exactly what you're doing. You may also have some other kind of announcement. Just, this is a great place to put little rotating text and things to kind of show people what's happening, what's current, what's going on, that sort of stuff. So I'm going to pop over back to you though, Codi, because I think you have some really great stuff along those lines, but that kind of transition into not just the overlay, right, but how they communicate with other pieces of promotional materials as you get into showing off that you're streaming at all, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So something you might not think about, back when we originally started streaming, we didn't really used to do these kinds of things, but nowadays with the way that social media is, we do. So basically in the same project, actually, so this is my thumbnail project, I just made a new page and I resized it.
Yeah.
And this is the Instagram story. So basically I just used the same exact assets that I did with my thumbnail, super easy. I just also added live stream today. So this is the one that I post that morning, like right when I wake up. I know that I'm going to do a live stream that day. I let everyone know on my Instagram story that there's going to be a live stream sometime today. And I put in this extra little box here. This is just one of the basic shapes in the shapes panel. It's like a rounded square and you can size it up and down. And I sized it specifically this way because on Instagram, you can actually add stickers to your story. So what I like to do is I'll put in on the top of this box here, I'll put in the link sticker so people can click through straight to that direct link to my live stream event. And then also underneath it, I'll put the countdown.
Yeah,
because the countdown sticker is really cool because people can tap on the countdown sticker and it'll actually notify them when the countdown is over. So that way they know that my live stream is about to start. So, and then also, so I post this one in the morning and then I post this one right as I'm going live.
Yes.
So this one just says going live now. And then I just put the link right there. So if anyone is, you know, like scrolling Instagram or whatever, they're scrolling through stories and they see, oh, I'm going live now. Oh, awesome. I can click over there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it all looks cohesive. Super easy to make and express too. Like, oh, I love it.
Yeah, it looks really great. It definitely conveys a very particular type of atmosphere throughout all of it. We've got some folks in chat, which I would love to say hello to because I haven't really greeted everybody just yet. We've got Tunk in the chat, Annika, the one and only, hanging out with us. We've got Becca Smith, Charles Bell, Stephen Booth, Barbara, welcome in, Megan Kissel, hello, Clever Devlin, Marcus, PJ. It's good to see all of you folks in here. I also think I see Redme, welcome in, and Sin Lagos in the house. It's good to see you, Sin. Thanks for popping in. Clever says, I'm a lurky turkey. Yep. You know, sometimes that's how it is. I definitely have lurked in many a Codi Bear stream, just for the cozy vibes, you know, and the good conversation. It's everybody kind of interacts with a live stream in a lot of different ways. One of the things that you really are kind of hitting home, I think, Codi, with all of this branding that kind of continues throughout the live streaming and the social media promos and stuff. And something I feel like I said earlier, like you're kind of a master of, is creating that atmosphere, right?
Mhm.
That branding that goes from scene to scene on the actual live stream, plus the branding that bleeds over into Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is you might use. Really works wonders to, instead of like I'm doing a live stream, I'm doing a random show. It helps people feel like it is an event. There's something happening that's very specific. You know, they're coming to a place rather than just clicking a link. And I think that that's one of the most important things when it comes to really creating a great branding package. And so I'm just gonna, real quick, I'm just gonna go for it. We've got both of our live stream areas up, so if you want to start working on some of your stuff, I'm going to start working on mine, and feel free to let us know what you are diving into.
For sure, yeah. So I wanted to, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to show you guys how to make a very simple starting soon screen with an animation. And the great thing about having some kind of animation on your starting soon screen is that, you know, live streams, we have technical issues sometimes. And, you know, being able to have some kind of motion, constant motion on your screen kind of subconsciously tells your viewer that your stream is still running. Sometimes if you have a static image as any, like your BRB screen or your starting soon screen, sometimes that can make people think that, oh wait, is the stream frozen? You know, like, is it actually still running? Like, what's going on here? You know, so if it's constantly in motion, we know instantly that there aren't any technical issues. They're just gonna, you know, they'll be right back. They'll be here. So basically, I wanted to be able to show you guys how to do a super simple animation, even if you aren't an artist. Like, all you have to know how to do is be able to write. And we're gonna be doing this in the Photoshop timeline.
Nice. I'm going to actually pop up over so that people can see everything. And I agree 100%. I think the Photoshop timeline is probably one of, like, in my experience, like a super underrated tool, because I feel like I don't hear tons of people talking about it all the time, but I utilize it constantly, you know.
It's so great if you want to do like a really simple frame by frame animation. I've actually been working on a frame by frame like ASMR ambiance video for my YouTube. I just finished it. So I did the entire thing in the Photoshop timeline. It's such a useful tool. It's so fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you guys don't have the timeline window open, all you have to do is go here to the top on Photoshop and go to window, and then go down to timeline, and then it will open up on the bottom of your screen here. And then we're gonna click create video timeline.
You know what, Codi, if I can pause you for just a moment. If you are, would you be comfortable putting your timeline window on top of the illustration? That might be easier, because we would be covering stuff on both sides, I just realized.
Gotcha. No problem. So we just got it pulled out here on the top of our illustration. Okay, cool. So basically the way that the Photoshop timeline works is that each layer can be used as a frame. So basically, like, we have our background frame here. And then we have the text on each separate layer, and that's a frame. So you can take your frames and you can make them shorter if you want to, and longer, depending on how many frames you want, you know, for your animation.
Yeah.
So basically what we want to do, so I want to add some kind of little like text wiggle basically to this starting soon text. So I have this first frame, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go back to that first frame, and I'm going to lower the opacity just so I can see where I'm writing. And on our new layer, I'm just going to draw right over that starting soon text, but I'm going to just change the letters just slightly, intentionally. And we're gonna do this just a few times. It's super fast. And as you kind of change the letters, it will show in the animation as a little wiggle once we play it.
Nice.
So we're gonna do it one more time. Again, it's so fast. Oh my gosh. Just gonna lower the opacity here on our new layer. Gonna do it one more time. 3 frames I feel like is usually a really great place. If you don't want to make a ton of frames, but you want it to look natural,
Yeah.
3 frames is kind of like a good sweet spot.
It doesn't look too busy, but it has like definite movement to it.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna pull up the opacity on our 3 layers here. And then we're gonna come up to our timeline, and we're just gonna move over to the end here. We're just gonna make our frames a little bit shorter, so they will move quicker. The shorter the frame is, the quicker the movement. So we're gonna go like, let's do like 2 frames for each one. And then we're going to, the Photoshop timeline works horizontally. So we will just move these frames so they are stacked over each other.
Becca in chat is saying, I never realized that animated text could be so easy. And
yes.
yeah. Also, welcome in Evie Johnson. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in to hang out.
We're just gonna move our layers to the end of our piece here. So now we're just gonna play. Okay, it's very fast. But all we have to do is wiggling.
It's going crazy.
All we have to do is make our frames a little bit longer just to slow that down. You can also change the frame rate of the timeline as a whole as well. Now we just play, and there we go. There we have a wiggle.
Yes.
We have the wiggles.
Wiggle vision.
Wiggle vision. Look how easy that is, you guys. So I am actually going to take that same concept, and we are actually going to apply it to something else in this scene. We are going to apply it to the steam on our teapots.
Okay.
So yeah, so I have actually a little animation that I did of, I made this artwork like 3 years ago, and I completely forgot that I have it until I went to look at my old artwork for this live stream, and I was like, wow, I really need to reuse this old artwork. So guys, don't forget that you have old artwork. You can reuse it for a lot of different things, especially Stream UI.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have this little animation, and I thought that I never finished it. It was just like a little sketch. But I wanted to just only do the little wiggle part. So the steam is actually going to be wiggling along with the text.
Nice.
So, and that's great for like the great kind of animation for a starting soon screen is like the constant like it's just going until you say stop. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and add in onto these layers. I'm just going to draw over top of our steam here. And this is a great example too of if you have lost your Photoshop file for your artwork and you just have the PNG, if your art has a solid background like this, because I'm actually working with a PNG right now. It's a PNG. It doesn't have transparency. I just made the background the same color as the background in the artwork. So if you guys lose your Photoshop files or anything, but you have a solid background, I promise you it is not, all hope is not lost. You can still animate a little bit here. So this is what I'm going to be showing you guys. We're going to be lower the opacity of some of these layers here. I'm just going to go over to my second layer, and we're going to kind of just trace this steam here a little bit. Of course, I'm doing this very quickly, but you guys get the idea. You get the idea.
I think that this is a really great thing to show as well, because it's something that you can do pretty simply, but as you said earlier, you can really get super detailed and elaborate on this with like your own personal creative style if you are like a creative doing a live stream. But this is also something where maybe you're not as comfortable doing a lot of illustration. Maybe you're not an illustrator at all, but you could still come in with some shapes and things, even just a difference in texture or color, and animate in this way and create something really nice for yourself for your live streaming package. even if you don't have the know-how to do those other things,
Totally.
which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that it's really easy to think that animation is so difficult and that like, oh, I would never be able to do that or something. But sometimes like animation can be so easy. There we go. Very rudimentary, of course, but we have a little animation
I
for our
love
scene
it.
here.
I love it. That looks so good. And that's a great thing. Like if that is the main page boom of your live stream, then when people show up, it's not that static image and it feels like stuff's happening, things cooking up, you know, all that kind of stuff. People will know that you are live. They won't have that feeling like you mentioned earlier of like, is it live? Is it going? Is this just a thumbnail or, you know, where am I at? It does give a little more excitement, a little movement to the broadcast, which I think is really great. And if you've got some music playing in the background, it just feels really awesome. It creates that atmosphere.
Totally.
To the point of atmosphere, I'm going to pop over to my screen because I've been doing a little bit of work over here on my project. And what I want to show real quick is I like to layer my scenes. So you could make a flat image that is, you know, just a background and you throw your webcam on top of it, similar to this beginning design, which I have up here. Something like this, you know, you could make a background, you could make a little region to place your webcam and all that good stuff. But I think that if we're going for atmosphere, doing something a little more unique and kind of adding your own flair into it really goes a long way. So what I've done here is I've created these 3 layers, which are layered on top of each other, and I've used just hue and saturation and the masking tool to kind of mask like these cloud shapes out of it. So I have this one darker like purple texture in the background. In the middle here I have like a slightly lighter color of the same texture, which I just used my lasso tool to cut out some cloud shapes from it. And then in the very front I have some brighter little shapes kind of along the same lines. And what this allows me to do is add some things in like this. If I'm just going to use like a brush just to sketch some ideas. So first of all, if I'm going to be in this scene, then I can, you know, put myself, this is Val. If I decide that I want to throw myself in here, I can bring myself down to the center here, and I can overlap myself with whatever designs are in here. So there's something in front of me, there's a background behind me, and these are literally just added into your live streaming software such as OBS, maybe you're using Streamlabs, whatever it is that you are going to go for, in a way that creates like almost like I'm in a room rather than I am sitting on top of a live streaming graphic, you know. You could also get really cool and do something like this. Like if I decide I'm gonna put this middle one here, maybe I want to also create some interesting designs where there's like little, you know, I'm VooDoo Val and I like purple and magic, and so maybe I want like some little trinkets kind of hanging down, and maybe I want to do something interesting like that. I want to put myself into a scene that is interesting rather than sitting, you know, and kind of hovering on top of something. And this is something that can kind of achieve that, where as long as you are comfortable saving more layers of your project and adding in everything as layers, you can really get pretty clever, I think, with some of the interesting stuff that you're able to do as far as creating an atmospheric space. And I like to think of a live stream package as something where it might seem really daunting as you get into creating it, but truly I think that if you can create a face cam region or a stream starting soon scene, just a simple graphic for the starting soon stream, that's kind of like a branding guideline, right, for the rest of your rest of your show. And I'm gonna pop over here because it looks like you've got some really great stuff up, which I would love to show. But yeah, if you can make one thing that is going to kind of set the stage for your piece, in my case it's typically the face cam region, because I can think, how do I want to present myself, what kind of scene do I want to put myself in, and then just make everything else match, you know?
Yes. That is so true. I actually just experienced that exact thing when I was kind of designing everything for my new YouTube channel. I didn't really know the direction that I wanted to do things. Even after all of the artwork that I've created over the years, I still didn't really know how I wanted to make my graphics, but I just made one thing. And then I was like, okay, that's a brand template right there.
Yeah.
You know, like that helps me figure out how I want it to look in the future. So like for instance, I was just showing you guys the kind of going live scene that I made earlier. So that one was for the illustrating patterns kind of scene right there. But I also have this project, which is very similar, but it's a little bit different, where this is for like a new video. So if you're going to be uploading a video to YouTube, basically all I did was I put the thumbnail here for my YouTube video, and then I put new video in all caps, and then once again right underneath it with the basic shape I put a space for the link so people can click through on the link.
Nice.
And what's great about Adobe Express is that this is now a template. So all I have to do whenever I upload a new video to YouTube is swap out this thumbnail and I'm good to go. So yeah, super easy. And when I started creating my branding, I had this little, funny enough, I had this little acorn icon that I uploaded to Express through the CC library, and I'd never used it for anything.
Okay.
And so it was just already in Express, and I was like, okay, what do I have in my assets already that I could just use really quickly to make some assets for social media, you know? And so I just threw in like this acorn scene kind of around the edges to leave that blank space for my information. And then I just added this this torn paper shape kind of down here to kind of just fill some negative space, and boom, that was it. Like that, that's all I did.
That's amazing. I think that you raise a really great point. It's like, if you're going to be doing live streams for, I assume like a lot of people who would be here in chat today are probably going to be doing like a creative live stream. This is such a great opportunity for you to call up some of your older projects that you really love, or things that you never got the opportunity to use, and showcase what you have created in a super unique way that's very different from, you know, making a post on social media to showcase the art specifically. And in a way, I think that whatever art you use, depending on how you employ that creative piece of work on the live stream, can in some cases become more popular for you than it would, you know, if you were just posting it on Instagram or throwing it in your portfolio, right? Especially if you use Codi's advice and make it a little animation. Like what was once a little teapot illustration is now, this is the teapot that's dancing when I show up to Codi's stream. That gets me super excited about what we're gonna be doing today. You know, it's really, really cool. We got Paul Weaver in chat saying, wow, one of my fave artists, didn't realize that was her on here today. Hello, Paul. I don't know if you're talking about me or Codi, but we were both very excited to be here. Evie Johnson saying, I love purple magic too. It's where it's at. It really is where it's at, unless you're Codi Bear, at which point the fall colors are where it's at. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Like, I'm looking at our art regions, and this is typically how it ends up every time. With one of our, it's a spooky cute stream. It's kind of what it turns into, where we're into the same stuff, but mine's happening at nighttime and Codi's is happening in a cozy forest.
That's kind of a funny transition there, right? Just talking about branding. If you are an artist, if you are a designer or an illustrator, you know, stay true to yourself. Like when you're making your branding, like me and Val have completely opposite aesthetics, like, but we both still kind of have our own brand atmosphere. Like, you know what you're gonna get when you go to a Val stream, and you know what you're gonna get when you go to a Codi stream. You know, like they're two completely different feelings, but they're still feelings nonetheless. You know, like they're still brand related. So just like keeping, you know, cohesive color palette, kind of like Val was just talking about. We both have totally different color palettes, but everything is cohesive. And using, like I was just saying earlier, like, don't forget about old artwork, you guys. Like, don't feel like you have to make new artwork for every single thing that you do. Like, that can feel so overwhelming sometimes. And it just feels so daunting when you're starting a new project. I literally put off creating my YouTube channel for like the last couple of years. I'm not kidding you, because like just the idea of starting a new channel over, having to create all the new stuff. But honestly, being able to have Express, having the Creative Cloud libraries, being able to upload assets super quickly so I can have my own personal illustrations in Express to be able to make that branding with my artwork in it is just so helpful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Just
agree 100%.
don't sleep on old artwork. Totally.
It's honestly, I think that in a strange way, like developing a streaming package with my art is like, it kind of reinvigorates my own passion for my work, because I think about like, what do I want people to feel when they come to my show? You know, what do I want them to understand that they're in for, basically, you know, when they come here. So I really take the time to like showcase me in a manner that makes me feel nice about the things that I do. You know, how best do I communicate to other people what I do? Kind of the same feeling and same vibe that you probably go through when it comes to creating a social media promo for yourself, but it's done, and it's got some more wacky moving parts that just get really exciting for me. And I definitely agree with what you say, where like, don't sacrifice your own creative self in this process, because this is like, while you do want to maybe creating an atmospheric space for live streaming is a little bit outside of your comfort zone, keep in mind that while that may be, this is a showcase of you. You know, this is you're visually communicating your story, and your art is a part of that, but you're showcasing yourself because you're doing the stream. Another really fun thing to do is something that I've been thinking about doing recently, and unfortunately I'm not prepared to like dive into the nitty-gritty details of how to for this live stream, but I do a lot of live streaming where I am on camera, like here, but I also have been doing some weekend streams on my personal YouTube channel where I'm like, I don't feel like doing my eyebrows today or doing my hair, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to chill out and hang out. And so there's like the idea that we could animate our own avatars. It doesn't really even have to be something that's animated. You could just do like a cute little self-portrait and just pop yourself down in the corner. You know, so that there's like a little face of you just like waving at your audience is a really cool way to do it. But with the use of like Character Animator, Adobe Character Animator or something like that, you could technically draw all of the different mouth shapes and gestures and stuff and create your own little stream avatar type deal if you decide you don't want to show yourself. So the possibilities of showcasing who you are when it comes to developing a live stream package is really great. And I think once you get comfortable doing that, you could do it for other people, because other people, that's one thing, to be honest. Doing live streaming packages and assets and things for other people who streamed is how I started my creative career. I was live streaming on Twitch TV, and I was doing some like web design stuff in the background, but mostly I was doing taking commissions to design overlays for other live streamers who needed like a live stream for a just chatting stream, or they needed a live something for a live stream where they're playing Fallout New Vegas and they need something that looks like super cool and will match with that sort of thing. So it's a great skill to have because it is awesome to do for yourself, but it's also a great skill to have so that you can do it for other people, and it could be something that you offer as part of your you know, your repertoire of products that you can give to the world. So let me see. Joshua says, I've been putting off my personal branding too. Paul says, I would never forget you, Val. I'm so glad. Paul, for those of you guys who don't know, Paul Weaver has been watching Adobe live streams since about 2015. Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a long time. So thank you for joining in, Paul. It's always great to see you. Evie says, I love the idea of giving my old work that I still love a new lease of life. And that's totally it. Becca says, this is so helpful. I've been putting off my personal branding for years. Looks like we got a lot of folks in chat who like want to do all of this stuff. And it's just like, you know, maybe this is kind of gonna be a cool thing for you folks if you guys will dive into it and do it. If you honestly, if you put together a live streaming package based on, you know, some of the stuff we went over in this stream, and you put together a little promo or something of like some of the cool stuff you've created, please post it on Instagram. I will add it to my stories and stuff because I would love to showcase what you're doing. And maybe if you guys do that and show off the atmosphere and the cool scenes you're making, we can, I can kind of tell people when you're streaming and where you're streaming and what you're streaming, you know? Let's see. Everybody's talking about it's super hot. Yes, it is very hot. It's very hot. I'm in Northern California right now, and I don't understand. I don't understand. All right. I've got kind of a face cam thing going on here, and I think that I'm going to group this together and just go ahead and call this face cam done. I definitely want to do like a stream starting soon. But the cool thing about doing this, like I've created this face cam, and I don't know if this is exactly 100% the way that I would do it. I kind of have a little bit of meh feeling on, you know, how I've put this title in here, but it's a good start. And typically what I do is I'll group all those together. I'll call this in caps face cam, you know, and then I will duplicate it, boom, and let's call this starting soon. And what I can do here is I just basically make this it. So I've got my social media handle, I've got my little logo in the corner, and I'm just going to, with my move tool, grab my title of the stream and throw it in here and just make this starting soon, you know, something like this, and then just throw that there, boom. So I got my starting soon going on. And then, you know, these don't have to be uber intricate. I could, you know, add some animation that, you know, kind of like Codi did, but if I want to, I could do starting soon, and then let's group this one, duplicate it, and I can call this BRB, and let's just change this one real quick to say be right back. There's my be right back screen, you know, and so on and so forth. So creating, like I said, that first initial concept, that first initial thing can really lead you into the whole rest of your package, you know? So let's do, I've got a face cam starting soon, BRB. We definitely need an ending, so I'll say ending. I like to be a little fun with some of our ending streams or screens. I think we've got about maybe 13 minutes left here, but if I can real quick, I'm gonna do some weird magic with the stream, Codi. I'm just gonna flip prematurely to the ending screen because the ending for CreaTips, it says bye-bye, thanks. You know, bye-bye, thanks. And it has like the hashtag.
Yes, that right there is a perfect example of branding too. Text, like how you speak to your audience through your text and your descriptions and your thumbnails and everything, like that adds so much to the brand as well.
Yeah, and it gets really fun because I feel like that's, you know, as you say, that kind of like goes into it all, but it's also like, how do you talk? You know, this is another opportunity really to showcase not just your work, but your personality. You know, how do you talk? How do you speak to people and kind of make that an authentic moment as you're saying goodbye? So I like BRB or be right back for like and instead of like a we will be back soon or something, you know, like I like to be a little fun because that's what I would say. But when it comes to an ending screen, I think when I was streaming on Twitch, my ending screen for like a year and a half said, bye nerds! Because I was just doing like game streams, you know, so.
I love it.
But it was fun. And so for this ending screen, I might say, see you next time or see you later. See you later. That kind of works for me. See you later is good. But yeah, so we've got an ending screen, we've got a BRB screen, we've got a starting soon screen, we've got our face cam screen, and we could do a work screen. For the work stuff, let me tell you guys, when it comes to creating something for like a work region or an art region, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You could do something like I have here actually set up for CreaTips. We've got my stream over on one side, we've got Codi's workspace over on the other. We've got our webcams there where you can see like we're kind of underneath both of our art regions, and we also have something on the screen that denotes who is who, which is which, that sort of thing. And this really is important when it comes to communicating what exactly you're showcasing to people. Another thing that you could do, this is literally just a hey, I'm gonna do a little, we're gonna be, I've never actually like done this sort of thing and not felt like I was causing a disaster on the stream, but I can move this. This is a little behind the scene magic since we're going over this. You can see it's a piece of like graphic design which I have placed my work onto. And to be able to do that is, I think, pretty easy to do. Just throw something in, throw the workspace on top of it. There's another way you can do that where we have, you know, like our main screen here, where the webcams are just floating on top. So you can see there's like a little frame around us. So making a little frame that matches with your branding and putting yourself inside it. So you're like this hovering ghosty designer, you know, like floating in your space. And then you can have like, you know, we can see all of Codi Bear's work here. You can, you know, especially if you're showcasing a creative process or you're playing a game that's very immersive, this is where it's at. You know, doing something like this, you don't want to distract with the design. You want the focal point to be the content you're presenting.
Totally.
But then you can also do what I highly recommend when it comes to doing like a solo stream. It's a little different because we have two art regions for this, but if we come back to the face cam real quick, is to do something where you have a background image like this, and then you have a top image that has all your branding with a cutout. It's just a transparent PNG, because when you do that, you never have to worry about where you place things. So my webcam region extends past the borders of the cutout here. Codi's webcam region, as I've placed it in the scene, it's a little bit wider, and I did not have to, you know, worry about is it placed perfectly, that sort of thing. It just makes it more cohesive. And then you can do fun stuff like this where, you know, we're not actually in a perfect square. We've got this cool little rounded corner and some little designs and things that just make it a little more like fun and fanciful. And depending on what you are doing, that could be really beneficial for your vibe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So let me see how much time we've got here. Oh, we still have maybe 8 or 9 minutes. I get to talking, you know, and I'm like, how much time has actually gone by?
I wanted to add one more tip to something that I struggled with my brand for the longest time was finding fonts that I really like and felt like go with my artwork. I don't know if any of you guys feel that way, but man, every time I tried to pick a font, I always just ended up picking another one like the next time around, and I just couldn't ever find fonts that looked right until I got the advice to just handwrite everything, because your handwriting is unique to you. And so I've been handwriting everything for the last few years, I think. You can also, I haven't ever gone around to doing this, but you can totally use a program like Font Self as well if you want to turn your handwriting into a font to make things quicker for you. But if you can totally make your handwriting a part of your brand. And I've seen multiple artists doing this, and I always felt like I get so used to seeing their own handwriting paired with their artwork that it just becomes a whole thing. It becomes a whole brand, part of their brand. And it didn't even occur to me that like I could do that, because in my mind I think, oh, well, I'm doing text, I have to have a font. but you don't necessarily, and especially if you're only writing like a few words, like something like this, like I'm doing on my scenes here, like it really takes no time at all. But it can add so much character to your brand if you feel like your handwriting goes along with your artwork, of course. But it's something that's cool about it is that like no one can copy you.
Yeah.
You know, like your handwriting is unique to you, so it is literally you on the page. Same with your artwork. So yeah, if you feel like you can make your handwriting work with your artwork, I highly suggest doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. I think it's like instant customization, right?
Yeah.
It's something that nobody else has but you. Except I'm only gonna say this as a joke. Is that I was gonna say nobody has your handwriting but you, unless, like me, you and your mom can't tell your handwriting apart. Because I do find many a note around where I'm like, I didn't write this. Who wrote this in my handwriting? But you know, the fact remains is that it's a very unique way. Like, I don't think you're gonna encounter somebody else in the wild that has handwriting that people are gonna mistake for yours. So it's a really great way to be able to do that.
Don't copy me, Mom.
Yeah, stop, Mom. My mom's gonna start streaming and be like, I'll trick everyone into thinking it's your place, but it's my place. I am real quick trying to, I'm gonna create kind of a little cam region here, if I can. Something that
Paul said, don't give all the tips away that make Adobe look cool. We have to show you the behind the scenes so you know what it's like for live streaming. We have to show you.
Yeah. It's you know what? I feel like, you know, there's got to be a lot of people in the chat who, you know, want to stream for themselves one day, and this is kind of a cool way to like kind of give everybody, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I need a kick in the pants to like get going on what I want to do. Sometimes it can be really difficult for me to like, okay, how am I going to do it? Especially, I remember just the days of like when I had not streamed before, and I was like, what looks cool? Like, is this dumb that I'm doing? Like, you know, just really trying my best to like figure out what would be cool. And you know, so this is like, if you have been wanting to do your own live streams and you don't exactly know how to do it or what to do, this is your you know, your call to action to like take some of these ideas, take some of these tips, and just kind of go for it. Do what you want. Stream where you want to stream. Do what you want to do. I don't know if I can sing any more of that song to that jingle before we get in trouble. I kind of, so on our stream, Cody, I made like these little boxes, and it has its own little background just in case, and it has like a frame, but the frame has like this nice swoopy curve that kind of matches with some of my own details. So what I'm gonna do is I'm using some of my textures from my live, or from my design here, and I'm gonna come in with my lasso tool and create like kind of the same cloud vibes as the rest of my overlays, and like do the same thing on it, and just like kind of make a little frame like that would match what I just did. So I'm pretty excited. I think this is gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do like a select inverse, and then I'm gonna do some of that. Yeah, and then I'm gonna change.
Something else that I could show you guys. Since I was talking about Adobe Express earlier, I didn't actually show you how you can upload your assets from Photoshop to Express through the CC library.
Yeah, do that. We do have like maybe a minute and a half, but go for it. I
got this. We can do it. Okay. So let's say, okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste this little heart onto a separate layer here. So here's our little asset that we want to put into Express. So I'm going to go Window, and I am going to go down to Libraries. Libraries. And we are just going to go back. Well, I'm just going to create a new library. We're just going to go Adobe Live CreaTips, and I'm going to make a new library here. And then we're just going to click and drag this layer right on into that library. And then we're going to go back to our browser. let's just go into a project here. And we're gonna go into libraries. We're gonna find that CreaTips folder, and there is our asset right there.
Amazing.
All ready to use.
Amazing. I love it. That's awesome. It's so fast. It's so quick.
Yeah.
And it's like great if you're just sitting there at your desk, you know, trying to come up with like a quick collection of little items like we're talking about. You could make yourself a whole little set of interesting doodads to to decorate with, and then it's just right there. Speaking of interesting doodads, I have finished my little cam frame here, which I would love to show off before we take off. We just have a few moments left here, but this is the final version of my little, let me make sure that this is my little final version. I'm just putting my name in here. VooDoo Val. Boom. So I've got, you know, my webcam region, we've got all kinds of stuff, and that's like how I would kind of create a quick little branding package. But this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me, Codi. This was an absolute blast. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have to take off here because we are running out of time, but definitely take a look at the VOD if you want to go back and take a peek at any of the advice that we shared. I'm going to be posting some more assets in the asset link below, and we will see you around the bend. Adios, folks.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks.